Well, welcome to our Weather Impact Report, where we take a look at the top weather stories here in Georgia and around the nation. I'm meteorologist Danielle Moss. This week, Georgia had its fair share of severe weather. Unfortunately, 2 people died from storms in West Georgia, and several are still cleaning up trees that were downed throughout the week. It all started Sunday afternoon when severe storms rolled through the South once again. The storms turned deadly near Columbus, where an EF1 tornado touched down on Sunday. A father and son died after a tree fell on them at Bull Creek Golf Course in Midland. A verified fundraiser says Matthew Collins Sr. and his son shared a name and a deep bond. More than $28,000 has already been raised to help with funeral costs and to support the beloved wife and mother they left behind. The storms did not just start in Georgia, they also came in from the west, and 46 million people were under flood alerts from Texas to Ohio. Most of them were still cleaning up from severe weather from the storms that came in the week before. NBC's George Solis reports from hard-hit Arkansas.
Sheets of rain continuing to drench parts of the South tonight. Powerful rushing water appearing to pull this house off its foundation in Frankfort, Kentucky. Catastrophic flooding reaching roofs of some buildings, turning highways like this one into rivers. Officials in Arkansas say nearly 50 highways are closed because of high water.
It's been scary, of course, and everyone's feeling a little afraid.
Today in Little Rock, Arkansas, this massive tree collapsing onto cars and power lines leading to this fire. Fortunately, no one was hurt. And in Mammoth Spring, Arkansas, part of this train plunging into a river after floodwaters washed out this bridge, derailing multiple cars. Officials say no one was hurt. In Beebe, Arkansas, this tree crashed into Jim Tinkle's house, adding insult to injuries after days of unrelenting storms.
Has it ever been to this degree?
Not this bad, not this fast.
Storm clouds rolled into Memphis ahead of flash flood warnings in Tennessee, near where our Kathy Park is tracking the storms.
The storms here in West Memphis have unleashed so much rain, 2 to 3 inches per hour. Entire neighborhood roads are going underwater, catching motorists off guard. Some folks have no choice but to leave their cars behind.
In Kentucky, the massive amounts of rain raising rivers to dangerous levels.
Over the last 24 hours, the waters have risen over 5 feet, and we expected them to rise an additional 10.
Our Maggie Vespa is on the ground there.
It's been pouring for hours here in Paducah, and the river's rising so fast. The city's planning to install big metal gates here along its banks to keep water from rushing into downtown.
There have been multiple deaths across several states, including a 5-year-old after days of severe storms.
You guys are used to dealing with severe weather, but have you ever seen it to this level?
No, never like this in my life.
That was definitely a scary situation on Sunday, and Monday was even more interesting in Spalding County. A tornado touched down and caused damage to at least 26 homes. A shocking start to the day, considering West Central Georgia was not included in the severe weather outlook that day. The storm hit before 8 a.m. and once the threat was over, the cleanup began. 11 Live's Grace King went to Spalding County, where there were a lot of close calls with uprooted trees, creating a scare for residents early Monday morning.
On Monday morning, Donna Coates walked outside to see her yard covered in tree.
I've been in there maybe about 5 seconds, and all of a sudden I heard a big crash.
The trunk smashed portions of her chain link fence, with branches crashing into the corner of her home and ripping the gas meter off the wall.
The house started really smelling like gas, so I needed to get out of there.
She called 911 from the safety of her neighbor's home.
It was just really scary. It pulled the gas meter off of the house, away from the wall. And so they had to come out here because it was natural gas leaking.
She then let her family know.
Trees, big trees. That's the second one in this last couple of years.
Her Uncle Larry came to survey the damage and was grateful to see Donna and her home were largely okay.
Everybody's okay, so that's good.
But others weren't as lucky. Spalding Fire and EMA reported 11 damaged homes from the early morning storms, including this one on New Salem Road.
Heard a crack, saw what I thought was lightning. I don't know if it was now. And that was where the tree fell, where I went in there.
And on Tuesday, we learned more about the damage that was left behind in Spalding County. The National Weather Service sent their crews out to assess the damage and interview witnesses. You could see a lot of downed trees all across Spalding and in Henry counties from at least 2 different tornadoes on Monday. The one in Griffin was likely an EF1 with winds around 90 miles an hour. Grace King went back to Spalding County while the National Weather Service completed their survey.
On Tuesday, a cacophony of chainsaws ringing across Spalding County as crews worked to clear trees from driveways and homes.
We heard this tree over here come down, and it was just like sounding like a loud bomb, and it knocked this tree over, fell on the porch, took off the railing to the stairs.
Brian Dempsey is thankful everyone made it out okay, but he and his family still had plenty to clean up.
And it ripped the meter off of the house. So me and my stepdad, we're putting the new meter up and running the new service wire to it. We got our work cut out for us.
The National Weather Service has had their work cut out for them too. April is tornado time in Georgia, and this past weekend was no exception.
I think we've come across about the worst of it, which is in this general area within the Griffin area.
Meteorologist in charge Keith Stellman says an EF1 tornado tore through this part of Griffin, and another EF0 crossed I-75 in nearby Henry County. He says it's a reminder to always be prepared.
When we get into the tornado season, you need to know that you have a plan. You may only have a few minutes to react or less.
The National Weather Service has confirmed a 3rd tornado from Monday morning. This one touched down in southeast Coweta County and stayed on the ground for over 14 miles, moving through Coweta, Fayette, and Spalding counties around 7:30 in the morning. It was rated an EF1. 2 smaller EF0s also hit parts of Spalding and Henry counties. Well, Monday's storms in Augusta forced spectators to be sent home during the Masters practice round. They were promised refunds and told they would get a guaranteed opportunity to buy practice round tickets for next year. Augusta National reopened on Tuesday. Well, the weather didn't stop there. On Wednesday, we had a little bit of a break from the stronger storms, but other parts of the country were still dealing with the aftermath of floods. A heartwarming rescue in Arkansas was caught on camera. It shows a sheriff's deputy braving waist-deep floodwaters to save a couple trapped in their home. Emma Allen caught up with the deputy afterwards.
After days of relentless rain, the Ouachita River at Camden reached its highest crest since December of 1987 this week, threatening homes and lives.
Yesterday was whenever we were getting called about people needing to get evacuated.
That's Ouachita County Sheriff's Deputy Nathan Lane. He says he has never seen the area flood like it did this week, and on Tuesday, he had to get into that water.
We got called about 2 individuals that were trapped in their house. We were told that one of them or both of them had dialysis.
Lane says the water was so deep, they actually had to ride in a dump truck to get through the flooded neighborhood. After seeing where the couple lived, Lane says he debated whether to turn around and get a boat to reach them, but ultimately he decided to wade into the water.
The dump truck driver, he actually carried the wife out of the house on his shoulders like you carry a small child.
Lane made it his mission to carry her husband out. This incredible video shows him doing just that.
I told him, the guy, I was like, hey, I can either piggyback, you can either give a payback ride or you can get carried like a fireman carry. And he was just like, I'll take the fireman carry. So I just put him on my shoulders and walked out.
Driving through Camden today, you can still see the high water. By the river, we are told a playground is now completely underwater, as are public bathrooms and road signs.
That was on Wednesday, and then Thursday we had another round. Cleanup was underway after powerful storms left a path of downed trees and power lines across metro Atlanta. Some fell on cars and others homes. 11 Alive's Karis Belger tracked the damage for us.
Families across metro Atlanta were left without power starting Thursday night. The cause? Multiple downed trees falling on power lines, cars, and in streets. Thousands were still without electricity Friday morning, while others dealt with more serious damage. Multiple trees left people without power, one destroying part of the roof of a home.
I'm on Myrtle Street just off North Avenue. The damage is extensive. It starts with this one tree that completely broke off here. It fell on multiple power lines that's completely blocking this road, so much so that cones had to be put up on both sides of the street to keep people from driving down here. But I want to show you something else. One one man had a tree fall on his home while he was sleeping. And just behind me, you can see that large tree is still lying on top of his roof.
Call Georgia Power back and find out when they're going to get here, and get with my insurance company, get them over here to tarp my roof. It's going to be a major hassle. Everything doesn't go perfect all the time. Sometimes things are good, they're not always. You know, you have to take the good with the bad.
And as neighbors assess the damage, they're waiting for crews to slowly bring them back online. In Hapeville, Kara Spelger, 11 Alive News.
Well, lightning strikes are one of the most underrated threats in a storm, capable of causing fires, power outages, and even fatalities. Just one bolt can reach temperatures 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun and strike with little to no warning. Thursday's storms had their fair share of lightning inside of them. 11 Alive viewer Kelly Logs shared it to our Weather Impact Facebook group, showing us lightning strikes lighting up the sky over Fayette County. Those same storms also brought many of you hail. These photos are from Cherokee and Cobb counties, where many of you reported tennis and golf ball sized hail. Hail might only last a few minutes, but the damage it leaves behind can be long lasting. The strong storms in Georgia did not end on Thursday. Some lingering scattered showers on Friday afternoon packed pea-sized hail. This is a look at that hail in Grayson and Gwinnett County, shared by Debbie Ringer. And make sure you join our 11 Alive Weather Impact Team Facebook group, where you can connect with other viewers and share pictures and videos you can take across the area. Well, the National Weather Service announced this week that it will no longer translate severe weather alerts. That raises safety concerns for non-English speakers, especially as we deal with the extreme weather that spring is known for. But some Spanish language media say they are stepping up to make sure people stay informed.
Most of the time, if you tune in to 95.7 in Des Moines, you'll hear music or promos for events.
Los Iowa Demon Hawks.
But when the skies go dark over the city, stations like La Que Buena take on another role.
When there's a tornado coming or there's a severe weather that needs to be reported, we like to get on our social media platforms, get on the airwaves, and warn people to be safe.
Since joining the station in 2019, Alejandro Rios Zamora made it a priority to translate severe weather alerts, because for a lot of his listeners,
it's the only language that they truly understand.
Since then, the National Weather Service started expanding the alerts to include other languages like Spanish, Chinese, Vietnamese, French, and Samoan. But this week, all of those translations stopped. National Weather Service spokesman Michael Musher says the Weather Service has paused the translations because its contract with the translations provider lapsed. He did not say if any effort to renew the contract is being pursued. But for Iowa's Spanish-speaking community, not having storm watches and warnings translated can become a danger.
A lot of people come here, they're on visas, they come and work picking corn, they work in the fields, and they don't speak English at all. And their cell phone, if they get an alert, they're like, what is this? And if it's not in Spanish, sometimes people don't understand the severity of the situation.
So even though he never stopped delivering the updates, he says the importance of translating them is now even more crucial.
When there's a tornado, if there's a riot or something going on where people need to be safe, we like to be on top of that as well and inform the community.
Well, the Trump administration is planning to cut climate and weather research funding from NOAA. Documents about the administration's budget proposal for 2026 reveal the elimination of NOAA's research arm. The proposal would also close all weather and climate labs and several other agency offices. The plan amounts to a funding cut of roughly 75% to NOAA's research office. U.S. industries like agriculture, which lean on weather and climate data, could deeply feel the impact. Research on severe storms and tornadoes could also be affected. Documents show the administration expects the agency to enact the changes immediately. And as the Trump administration also weighs the future of FEMA, it's planning to end a national program for projects designed to help prepare for natural disasters. The impacts of FEMA adjustments are already being felt in Washington. King 5's Drew Mickelson explains.
Folks who live here in Grays Harbor County are no strangers to natural disasters, whether it's extreme weather or tsunami risks. Plans to build a tsunami escape tower here in Westport and protective levees in Hoquiam and Aberdeen could be in jeopardy because FEMA considers those projects wasteful.
Communities are facing the effects of climate change more than ever.
Getting the grants was viewed as a game changer for Grays Harbor County just a couple of years ago. In 2022, the cities of Hoquiam and Aberdeen got more than $80 million to build 11 miles of levees to prevent annual flooding. And the next year, Westport got almost $14 million for a tsunami evacuation tower, all through FEMA's Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities program, known as BRIC.
It was going to be right in here, this area here.
Last week, the county's emergency management office learned all the money was on the chopping block.
This is intended to save lives and support a community.
Westport's mayor says the city has worked for nearly a decade on the tower proposal that would be scrapped without FEMA's help.
It would be very sad. It would be sad, and I would continue to worry about the safety of the community.
A FEMA spokesperson said, quote, BRIC was yet another example of a wasteful and ineffective FEMA program. It was more concerned with climate change than helping Americans.
We've faced a lot of challenges over the years, things like the spotted owl, losing a lot of mills and industry. But to lose this grant funding, if we do, it'll be the biggest gut punch ever.
Hoquiam City Administrator says the levees won't be built without the grants. Those who have to respond to disasters here wish they had more help preventing them.
This is the way we move forward, and to have that taken out is completely devastating.
Grays Harbor County officials are hopeful FEMA will reverse its decision. The mayor here in Westport is encouraging residents to contact their congressional representatives, letting them know these projects will protect livelihoods and potentially lives. In Westport, Drew Mickelson.
Well, after the severe storms rolled through Georgia, a lot of folks are still cleaning up and trying to get back to normal. It's been a tough few weeks with downed trees, power outages, and damage to homes. It's just a reminder of how quickly things can change. No matter what the future holds, we will keep our eyes to the skies just for you. With your Weather Impacts Report, I'm Danielle Moss.